Sometimes in life, you need to take a bit of time for yourself. Time to get away from everything and to get some perspective. Doing that all on your own will amplify the experience and give you a chance to focus on your own needs. Sometimes it's to feel a sense of adventure. Sometimes it's to detox from the digital world. Sometimes it's to get some space and think about your life back home. All of these elements have an impact on your mental health, and a solo trip like this might actually be what you need to do next. Roam Overlanding has always tried to be a source of inspiration, to share the passion and love for overlanding. It's an amazing thing to share with friends and family and grow together through life-changing experiences. But the more I've traveled, I've also discovered a healing element to overlanding, and I've been feeling a bit lost at sea recently and was hoping this would be just the thing to shake up my world. And I hope that by doing this, it can inspire you to do the same. So I sit here under the shade of a quiver tree, not only because I'm trying to get out of the wind for the camera, but because in my mind, there's few places in the world more spectacular than this. I'm out here in Namibia at the moment, actually. Spent a good couple of weeks on the road and I've been traveling in lots of little groups and it's been amazing. I've learned so much from so many different people and it's been a fantastic part of the solo journey that I've been on. But this next chapter involves me being completely on my own here. And it's something I'm a little bit nervous about, but really, really excited about. And I am just gonna kind of wing it as I go along. I have no real goals or intentions besides to maybe just get a bit more intention in my life. So it's gonna be fun to bring you along on this journey. So this trip has no plan. The only plan is just get out here. And that's what I did. Yesterday I crossed the border and I sat on the side of the road, took the Garmin and found my first campsite. And we at the Mesosaurus fossil and Quiver Tree forest camp. And it is a beautiful little spot and I think a really nice way to start off the adventure. In about 45 minutes, I'm heading down to go meet with the owner of the farm, Giel, and he's going to take me on a tour of their fossils and things like that, which is just so cool. I know my 5-year-old nephew back at home is going to be thrilled about this. I think it's something that's going to be quite nice to kick off the adventure. I crossed over from South Africa at the Arnhemsvlei border post, heading towards Keetmanshoop to stock up on some supplies before heading to the Mesosaurus camp. On this journey, we would be taking the paths less traveled and exploring areas that we didn't get a chance to visit on my first trip to Namibia. I would be taking every day as it comes and try to be as flexible as possible if things didn't happen to go my way. Starting off my commitment to going with the flow was saying yes to a couple of experiences and getting a balance between interacting with new people and spending time alone with my thoughts.
Around about 320 million years ago, Southern Africa, as a part of Gondwana, was covered with a thick ice layer, like the South Pole nowadays. And then around about 270 million years ago, as it became hotter, the ice started to melt and it filled all the hollow parts on the continents. And during that stage, there was a very shallow inlet sea over Southern Africa and South America with lots of swamps. And these creatures lived in that shallow sea. 250 million years ago, they were the oldest reptile fossils ever found in Southern Africa. Now they were amphibians. So they live in the water and on land. The smallest one's 35 centimeters, the biggest one's 1 meter. But during that stage, they were the big creatures in the area.
Meeting Giel, the owner of the farm, and seeing his passion for sharing the story of his fossils and the quiver trees was brilliant.
He's owned the farm for 30 years and does these tours twice a day, almost every day, educating people about these amazing 250-million-year-old fossils.
The pressure stopped underneath and the magma cooled off underneath the surface of the earth. So it was subvolcanic, and in that case we call it dolerite. Now later on the soft soil eroded away and it left only the rock towers on top of each other. And there were different kinds of erosion, but one very simple kind of erosion was from heat and cold. They made cracks vertically and horizontally over thousands of years. But may I play you some music on these rocks?
Please.
You are very welcome to make a video from it, and please tell me the name of the song. Join me, please. Yeah,
Wow, eh?
And you are very lucky. The people who do not know the tune, they must walk back to the reception. You are good.
The more you travel with people who have information, it really expands your appreciation of these amazing places. Because so many people get you and they go, oh, it's a desert, it's boring, there's not that much going on. Until you start to really educate yourself and you realize how amazing it is for anything to survive in a desert environment. So this is a perfect little thing that happens on these solo trips. So now we've done this little tour with the farmer Giel. He's taken us around and, shown us this beautiful, really beautiful spot here. And the other people on the tour from Germany, and we were chatting a little bit, and turns out they are big into astrophotography, and they're here to actually do astrophotos. And then the farmer said, oh, well, we must come back here in the evening and, take some photos. And well, I think we're going to do that. Just going to go with the flow on that. Come there, sit, nerd out a bit about some astrophotos. I think that'll be really awesome. And one of the things, I asked him, would it be possible for me to camp here? I said, look, I'm very low impact. I'm not going to make a fire. I won't do anything weird. He said, yeah, absolutely. So I'm hoping I can get some beautiful astrophotos tonight.
I decided to take some time to head out onto the 4x4 trail and explore the farm a little bit more. I was absolutely astonished at the scale of the Quiver Tree forests out here. Everywhere you looked, the landscape exploded with them. And they would definitely be the theme of today's events. I head back towards the area from our tour earlier that day, where I would be meeting up with Gunther and Carissa for an evening of stargazing. Gunther took the time to explain some of the constellations, names of planets and stars and nebulae. I look at the stars every night on these trips, and I knew some of the basics, but in one night, he completely changed how I viewed the night sky forever. I remember a very vivid moment where him and his daughter were standing by the camera and he was continuing to teach her about the stars and to share the magic of the universe with her. This made me shed a tear as I wondered about my own future, and one day when I get to share my passion and love for the outdoors with my own kids, that must be an amazing thing.
So I made my way back to the bush camp and I'm gonna sit here. I'm in my little alucab and I'm gonna sit and work on some of the photos and maybe get a nap. I think we got to bed at about 2 a.m. and it was really, really awesome to sit with Gunther and Carissa and just, you know, they were so patient with me and just taught me all about the stars, and I really found out some cool stuff. So for now, this is where I belong, and maybe in about an hour or so I'll go down, make a cup of coffee, and maybe think about getting the day started. But I was going to leave today, but I decided I'm going to stay another day. I think yesterday was such an awesome random occurrence, and yeah, hopefully we're going to keep up those unique experiences, because that's what it's all about.
There is a freedom to these adventures. The plan to not have a plan is a complete contrast to how we normally travel. But it's exactly how it all started. So it took me back to that feeling of my first trips ever, an excitement of not being certain of how the day would go or where it would end. I created a skeleton of a route, so I had a general idea of a direction to head in and a potential campsite. But I didn't know if it would be open or booked up, or if I'd even get there in a day. A solo trip can be wild and free, but I don't think it has to be dangerous or irresponsible. So this is where my Garmin Tread Overland Edition comes into action. It's got all the campsites on it and has inReach satellite communication, which means I can at least let my family at home know that I'm safe and sound. To me, this level of communication actually gives you more freedom, because you can relax knowing people aren't stressing about you at home. It's a small thing, but it actually plays a crucial role in my experience on these trips.
This looks really good, and I'm very excited. I thought, with the fire going, let's do something a bit different. We've air fried many meals. Looks like that nice kind of savory rice with all the vegetables and everything done on the induction. Oh, that's good. Crispy onions inside there. Nice healthy meals while we're out in the middle of nowhere. It's a good life. So this is the Duwiseb Castle. It never reopened again after COVID-19. It's a beautiful, beautiful structure. I was chatting to the owner of the Duwiseb guest farm, and he was telling me a little bit about the history. It's a very interesting story. The original owners built it as a farmhouse, and it wasn't really intended too much for self-defense, but it was around World War I, and the timing, people were thinking about things like that back then. Unfortunately, Baron von Wolff died in the First World War in France, and his wife was left over to finish the construction of the farmhouse and to stay and live in Namibia for a while. But I'm not too sure how long she ended up staying around. It's unfortunate that it's closed, because there are a couple guests actually came through to come and look at the castle and have a bit of a tour. And I won't lie, it would have been really nice to go and have a tour, see what's happening inside. Apparently all the furniture, everything is still inside there. There's just no one to operate the tours. Onwards we go. I spent many hours here, and my breakfast almost turned into lunch. The owners here at the guest farm were excellent. I had a very long chat with him, and told me lots about Namibia. So I travel solo very differently now to when I first started overlanding. I realized that all of that time, that experience, doing this as a group and doing this over the years, has kind of changed how I interact with the land and the world I travel through. I'm, a lot more open to just chat to people and ask questions and find out about the culture And I'm always intrigued to know why people live in these far off remote places. And the more I talk to them and the more I, kind of learn about other people, I learn about myself and I learn about why I love to come to these remote places. I don't know if that means one day I'm going to end up living in a remote area on a piece of land, and I mean, it doesn't sound too shabby. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing of how much I learn about myself on these trips when you just interact with other people. If it's anything from just helping people who get stuck, to just chatting and asking questions to people who have been in the area a long time, older people who have got a lot of life experience and have seen the world change around them, in different ways. It's amazing to interact with people like that, and I must say, it's one of the joys of solo trips for me is all of the random interactions with people. Whereas when you're in a group, you might just stick to yourself, stick to your own group, and you might not interact with strangers as much. So far, every day has had a new social interaction, a new person to talk to learn from, and it's really nice. It's really interesting, and I'm having a lot of fun. Well, that is unfortunate. Looks like Namib is fully booked for the next week. Can you imagine? Everywhere I've been the only person. But seems to be a hot spot this. So yeah, time to check on the Garmin and see what's nearby. It is 4:30, so might be a late arrival.
Driving off dissatisfied, I got pleasantly surprised by what felt like a sign. A double rainbow. I've heard of always looking out for the silver lining, but this time it's you never know if there will be a double rainbow in the desert.
Look, it's not my first option, but it's not that bad. It's not Namib though. I'm gonna be salty about that for a very long time, but next time I will book ahead. But considering there's only one campsite here, I'm also lucky somebody else wasn't doing what I was doing and went to Namib and popped up here. So, look, I think tonight I'm just gonna warm up some leftovers from last night, sit in the tent, do some work, and get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow morning, up nice and early, hit the road towards Cesarium. So I've gotten really good at my pack up times now. I can get the whole setup packed up, breakfast in, bathroom run, everything in like under 30 minutes. It's getting pretty efficient now. Must say, quite enjoying everything. And that's from in bed. So that's like I'm lying there, timer goes off, like alarm goes off at 8 o'clock. Boom, 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 boom. 8:30, and I'm not rushing. I'm just taking it easy, doing each task nicely. And got a cup of coffee here, and we're ready to hit the road.
I'd only driven for an hour or two by the time I came across the little Sossus farm store. And when I arrived, I realized this beautiful spot had more than just snacks to offer. It has great campsites with magnificent views all around. So I decided, why not spend the day? I mean, I could use a nice hot shower.
This is a really, really nice little spot. beautiful. And you know, it's an absolute 360-degree view of Namibia. It's stunning. We've had a lot of clouds. It's quite windy at the moment, and I'm not too sure what's still brewing here. But I did check the weather and it seems like it should be clearing up in the next few days. We're all set up now. We've got a beautiful fire going there. I've got a steak defrosted. Gonna really settle in. I've had a couple tafels. It's been a really nice afternoon. Been able to catch up with some people on the Wi-Fi and stuff like that. Upload a video or two and get a few things going here. Really, really nice. I think I'm gonna stay here another day. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. So I woke up this morning feeling a little bit homesick. I know I've only been in Namibia for a week, but I've been on the road for about 21, 22 days. And I think that's usually when I start to get this feeling. I think maybe at the moment it's because there's been Wi-Fi here. And I've been able to like kind of talk to people back home and see things that are going on, and then it makes you miss everyone and like you want to go back and be part of normal life and watch the season finale of Mandalorian because Disney Plus isn't available in Namibia. I think maybe what I need to do then is not stay here another day. It's beautiful, but there's many beautiful places in Namibia. I'm sure there are naysayers to my little air fryer setup here, but I just pull over on the side of the road, hook it up. The air fryer heats up almost instantaneously. I mean, I don't know if you've used the air fryer, you'll know. They are an amazing, amazing thing. Now, I used to use the little 12-volt oven thing, and it worked in certain conditions, but you always had to be 2 hours ahead of schedule. And what I found with the air fryer is like, I want now, I have now. So I can stop while that's going on. I'm planning the route on where we're gonna go, can have myself a nice meal and get going. And it's really nice and easy, high quality food all the time. And I've kind of fallen in love with it on this trip.
After spending more time than I'd like to have on the main C27 road, I found myself a really nice detour towards Remhoogte and Spreetshoogte Pass, with the intention of exploring more of Namibia's unique highland mountainous areas.
So I see a potential question coming up. So why not wild camp? Now, wild camping I don't think is bad. I think it has a place, but I feel like that place is for emergencies, like you've gotten lost or something, you need somewhere to stay, it's dangerous to drive on the road at night. You know, things like that, I feel like that is a suitable time to wild camp. I would not plan a trip around wild camping. I don't believe that is sustainable. I don't believe that is good. Overlanding is far too popular these days to actually even wildly think of promoting wild camping in that sense. There is so much to gain from supporting the local farms and the campsites and things like that, the local communities that actually run and operate these campsites in these wild areas. brings money into those communities, it helps with conservation. There's a lot that it does. And also it helps to preserve the beauty of nature. You know, if you have to stop at every little picnic spot or every little wild camp spot, and there were thousands of people going through there, and there was toilet paper everywhere, and there was rubbish everywhere and things like that, you know, you and I might respect that place and might just use it and leave no trace. But there's 1,000 other people who are watching this who will just go and just do whatever they want there and make a mess. Leave their beer bottles behind, or leave their rubbish, or whatever. And they just don't have the same amount of respect. So in that sense, I would rather say, go and book in at a place. Use a toilet that flushes, use a shower, potentially get a breakfast in the morning, buy something from the farm store, support the local tourism, support the local farmers, and, you know, enjoy yourself. This is a brilliant little spot, well worth the detour today. Absolutely spectacular scenery. Sheesh, can see pretty much all the way down. Solitaire is down there somewhere, Cesarium down there somewhere, and our camp tonight somewhere over there. Very, very nice. I love a good viewpoint, I love a good mountain pass, and this little loop has been really nice, really, really nice. What a view. Oh yeah, remember what I was saying about the wild camping thing? This is why we can't have nice things, because people are terrible. There's rubbish, toilet paper. I just don't understand. You come here, you love this, it's beautiful, you admire it, you take photos of it, and then you take and you throw it everywhere. It just doesn't make sense to me. Wow. This is super cool. I can't wait to see how many meters we're gonna actually descend. That's gonna be really interesting. I've just got the car in first gear and I am using the brakes just to slow down. It's super steep, close on a 500 meter descent. That is quite impressive. So I just thought I need to give a little bit of credit to an unsung hero on this solo journey so far. I've done 1,000 kilometers of gravel roads in the Cederberg and the Tankwa. I've done 1,000 kilometers of gravel roads plus in the Kalahari, and I've done over 1,000 kilometers of gravel roads here in Namibia, and the suspension has been the best it's ever been. So with Terrain Tamer, we've been tweaking some little things there behind the scenes that you guys might not know about. We've been testing some new things, and all I can say is, if you have a heavy Hilux or Land Cruiser with all the toys on it, you've got to go and visit Terrain Tamer, because we've been working on some stuff specially for those vehicles, and I must say, it's fantastic. The vehicle, even though it's heavier than it's ever been, it's driving better than it's ever driven. It is so worth it. And another little unsung hero that I've been living on this past trip is my core engineering N-gauge 4x4 tire pressure monitors. I don't know what I would do without them. I'm just checking them all the time, especially on a solo trip where we're managing our tires constantly. I must say, it gives me amazing peace of mind. I don't know what to say. This is pretty perfect. This is pretty dang perfect. This is why it's important to explore and try new places and don't take the easy route, because you get little gems like this. Good morning. That was a late night, but so worth it. The stars were insane last night. Absolutely insane. And actually for most of the night I slept with even this mozzie net open, because it was so calm and beautiful last night. And I could just lie there and just stare at the Milky Way. It was epic. And the gemsbok were coming through this plain all night long to come to the watering hole. Must have been hundreds of them over the night. Today we're going to try and get to Valley of 1,000 Hills. Wow, these birds are so loud. There's thousands of them now. It's amazing. Yeah, they're going to come over. And there's a bird of prey trying to catch them. Awesome. This makes me think of something about photography. Some people might think that it takes you out of the moment. It takes you out of just being there and enjoying. But I actually think it makes you a lot more aware of everything, because you're always trying to get the shot, you know? Come on, come on, come on. Beautiful. You're always trying to get the shot. And by getting the shot or looking for the shot, you are committing yourself to the environment. You're committing yourself to looking at the mountains, looking at the light. Are there animals around? So it actually makes you super aware of the environment. And when you're somewhere really beautiful, you really appreciate it. So in a way, yes, I do feel like it's not necessarily photography or filmmaking that steals me from the moment. It's having to film or having to take a photo right now. That's kind of what steals you from the moment. When you've got to do it because it's your job to do it, it's your duty to do that and to share that with other people. That's when things start to play on your mind and you start to feel like, oh, why can't I just enjoy this for me? But I think it's about a mental shift of enjoying it anyway. And I always think about it, I go, what would I do if I just traveled and I didn't have Rome Overlanding? I'll tell you right now, I would photograph everything anyway. So, oh, there's a buck coming in. Awesome. You know, I've always traveled and taken photos. My mother has always done it. My father has always done it. We've just always done that. That is how we travel. The photos for me is something awesome. I love taking photos. The video, I love too. I love telling the story. But there's from the capturing to the putting the last little touches together to finish the story. That's where I definitely gonna need some help in the future. So if you're a video editor and you are looking to get some experience editing some YouTube videos, hit me up. It's surreal. It's a really beautiful landscape. It just feels like I'm driving in a movie or something. Let's see what's over this little hill. Quite a unique spot. It is incredibly beautiful. It's a bit of a 4x4 track just to get up to the lodge. Let's go and see if anyone's around. Let's go down and find our camp. We've got ourselves our camp. It's a pretty small camp. The view is sensational. But you've got your own ablution, you're pretty close to your neighbors. But, geez, this is quite the view. I think what I'm going to do this afternoon is I'm not going to set too much stuff up, maybe just a chair and a table here. I think I want to go at around sunset and go and drive around and go and see if I can get some beautiful photos. So I want to go and do some exploring instead. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the camera down, focus on this, and just get my head in the zone for some photography. It is a bit of a different state of mind to video. So let's see. I haven't done that in a long time. Normally I'm in the video mind and then I get a chance where I'm like, oh, I can take a picture. And then I take a picture. So let's see. What I'll do is I'll show some pictures on the screen as we kind of go along. How's this awesome little 4x4 track I found? Looks epic. What a view. This is spectacular. Time to think of making dinner or something. I don't know. I think I took chops out. Do I feel like making a fire? I don't know. I've got heartburn from all the pies from Solitaire. Naughty pies.
Damage done by the crash.
So there's been a pretty major change of plan. I managed to get some Wi-Fi up at the lodge, and the hot air balloon company got in touch with me, and they were like, there's really bad weather coming in on Monday, which is the day I was supposed to be booked in. Is there any chance I can do it tomorrow. So it's yeah, I have to basically do that. So goodbye, Valley of a Thousand Hills. You were really beautiful. So even though we're heading back towards Sestrium, I do have a bit of an alternative route that I wanted to take back that direction anyway. So it is around 12:30 at the moment. So we do have some hours left in the day, and it is stinking hot at the moment. So there is absolutely no point just driving straight to the camp and then sitting there from like 2 o'clock until in the sun sets. It's so rather be in the car, let the air conditioning do the work, and see some beautiful scenery. We've got diesel in the tank, we've got time on our hands. Let's make the most of it. Shame that that poor guide was very grateful to see me. The front tire had deflated enough that you couldn't really nicely get the jack in. In more situations than you'd think, you actually need 2 jacks. One is just to lift somewhere on the vehicle to get the other jack in to do the proper lifting on the tire specifically, because you can lift the vehicle as much as you want sometimes, but you've got to deal with the flex of the tire and the front suspension or the back suspension, and yeah, it becomes a bit of a nightmare. So shame. I think he was really grateful for that help, because his poor guests it's literally almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is the hottest the sun can be right now. It's very uncomfortable outside, and shame. He wanted to give me money just to say thanks, and I just said, don't worry about it. We do it for the love and the support, he said. We just don't get people like you. He gave me a big hug. Shame. We just try to be nice people. That's how it works. That's how I do things, and that's how I hope my community of Rome Overlanders would jump to help in the same situation. All in all, it's quite a big push today to get you, but a well-deserved beer at the end of a long day, you know, just to round it all off. Not a bad thing. I really like this spot. There's a waterhole right here. I've already seen a black-backed jackal there. It's nice. I'm gonna have a really nice shower. I've just put the donkey boiler on. Gotta get a good night's sleep, do some dishes. Tomorrow morning, we are doing the hot air balloon. Come on. Very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. Chances are I'll see you in the morning when it's really dark and we're making our way to the hot air balloons. Morning. So I think that is the hardest part done. I think now all I need to do is have some coffee, some breakfast, pack up, and we head through to the hot air balloons. Really looking forward to this. So I struggled to sleep last night, but it is 4:24, so let's get going. This is insane. I cannot believe I'm about to go in a giant balloon. Absolutely amazing. I might not necessarily be one for a champagne breakfast myself, but you know what? It's such an amazing experience. So we might as well finish it off, huh? Why not? So that is a major bucket list check off. That was an absolutely amazing experience, especially as a photographer. You know, it's so calm and so quiet up there. There's plenty of time to change lenses. So I could go from wide, I could go to the 100 to 400 and just get so many beautiful shots. It was really, really exceptional. Highly recommend it. Worth every penny. Especially as a SADC member, you get a bit of a reduced price. So, but it's quite hefty. It's about $5,500. So, but what's extra special for me is that I get to share that with you guys. That makes it extra worth it. But even if I wasn't doing this for my YouTube and everything, it's worth it, especially as a photographer. But now it's time to hit the road. I got to figure out where exactly I'm going to get to and what's the stop for tonight, because I have not planned anything further.
I had a solid trip from the balloons to Klein House. There were only a few times where I drove on the same roads as our last trip, and the D707 is always one that's worth a mission. But this 5-hour drive would give me plenty of time to absorb the events of the day and give me a chance to ponder the whole experience so far.
So that was quite a drive actually. I'm pretty exhausted. I didn't even really do too much filming either. I think the getting up super early in the morning, 5 hours, 6 hours of that whole hot air balloon experience and then another 4-5 hour drive. I'm pretty exhausted. So I got to Klein House, all the campsites were booked out. And there were just more and more people coming in. And the lady was like, they've got one chalet available, so I have a whole family chalet all to myself. Might as well just continue this luxurious day of seeing as I've had champagne breakfast and hot air balloons and now I'm in a chalet. So I think, well, I'm gonna have dinner at the restaurant and a couple beers and stuff and just take it easy. But in the meantime, there's some writing and stuff I want to do for a couple articles and maybe just take this opportunity while I'm here just to do a bit of work in a quiet, air-conditioned space. So somehow I've got to justify spending all that money on putting a roof over my head for the night. So let's get to work. Here's a little fun fact about chalet life. One night in this chalet cost the same amount as pretty much all the camping I've done in Namibia. That's mind-blowing. That really makes me appreciate camping. And every chair I sit in, I'm like, it's not as comfortable as my chair. Like, I could, I wish I was closer to my fridge. I wish, oh gosh. You know what? I have built Safari Hotel Shangri-La there that I carry around with me to all of my wonderful locations. So I'm very fortunate in that. But it is good every now and then to book into a chalet and get that perspective to realize why we enjoy our vehicles and going camping and doing our things. That freedom, it's excellent. It's really excellent. But I have enjoyed the, shall we say, effortlessness of the stay here. Just to sit and do things, walk up to the restaurant and give me some time to think instead of always having to run around and do something. So, but the doing is the meditation of overlanding. Anyways, breakfast time, and we are making our way out of Namibia. There's this theory in the world of mental health that kind of goes with this concept of a better you is better for everyone, right? So many people sacrifice so much of themselves. They just give, and they at no point ever take time for themselves, worry about their own happiness, their own health, their creative energy, all of those things. And what ends up happening is eventually you slowly deplete yourself you become bitter and resentful and stressed and snappy, and all of these little things start to change in your behavior. And unfortunately, you think you are doing all these amazing, nice things for your family and your friends and all of that, but you're always doing it with this like aggression, or why do I have to always be the one who does this, or why do I always have to? And sometimes you just got to step away from it all. You've got to step away from your family and your friends and your responsibilities and take some time for yourself to go and realign and just do something for you. That is a very important thing to do in life. I don't think enough people do it. I think it's something that if a person has done that once in their life, it's a lot, especially as a grown-up with responsibility and obligation and family to worry about. So if you're the type of person who's been thinking like, you know what, I need to go and just get away and just go and just do something just for me, don't feel bad about leaving your family behind for a week or two. I've been away for 10 days. It's been a really impactful 10 days. The thing is, you go back home for, 350 days, and those 10 days can really impact those 350 days significantly. So think about it. Let the inspiration take hold and just go and do it. Be safe when you do it. Don't be, you have responsibilities and obligation. You can't just run away from that. And that is the thing that I think the reality of this type of remote travel is, it's really soothing for the soul. Sometimes you can share that experience with people, but sometimes you just gotta go and have your own adventure and not have to worry about anyone else, just so you can learn more about yourself. And that will go a long way to improving your life and giving you perspective, giving you a way to look back at your life and the way you live and see how you might be able to do it a little bit differently. Some of us are just caught in ruts. We do the same thing day in and day out. We feel like we cannot escape that process. We can't, change it or make change. It's so difficult because our environment dictates our behavior. And sometimes what you got to do is completely change your environment. And that is where overland travel for me is something that's just like so good for your mental health. It's something that teaches you about nature, teaches you about yourself, teaches you about your vehicle, your friends, your family. So many lessons that are so much bigger and so much more important than just buying stuff for your vehicle. So for me, the number one priority is always to try to inspire people to go and travel, go and just do it. Start somewhere, do something. That is the first thing. The stuff comes later. It's your convenience, it's your things. Like, people travel so differently. I just like to show everybody what's out there, what's available, depending on how you travel. So many people watch Rome Overlanding. So many people who are just haven't even ever been on a trip. And some people who are looking at basically living on the road for a year. So I've got to make content that kind of speaks to everybody. But at the end of the day, I think the thing that's the most important for me is, why do we do this? Why do we go overlanding? And it's because it does something to us. It gives us something. And I think that is why we keep coming back. Because we realize we need that. When I start to get complacent in my life at home, then I really start to need a trip. And you go back, you go on your trip, you come back home, and you're like, yes, hot water whenever I want it. Friends and family, yeah. Oh, a cappuccino. How good is a cappuccino? These are things that we should be excited about life like that every day. It's unnatural to always be on this level. You've got to come back down here every now and then. You've got to go out. It's a natural process of appreciating things, is to also go without. It's like fasting. You know, you kind of got to give something up a little bit for just a while, and you come back and you really appreciate it. So, anyways, that's that. Those are some thoughts. So there we go. Tomorrow I cross the border back into South Africa, and yeah, I ended up cutting the trip a little bit short. It's my dad's birthday coming up, and I'd like to be back home in time to celebrate with them and not be under too much pressure. I think this is absolutely necessary because there is an absolute cracker of a year up ahead. Like, big stuff. So thank you very much for being along this entire process, and thank you for always tuning in to Rome Overlanding and seeing what weird Mr. Adrian is up to. And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I hope you managed to get something of value out of this. I really want this show to leave you with something. And that for me is the new direction and the new push that I'm making for Rome. Is I want it to be more than just an overlanding travel channel. That's definitely the point of it, but I feel like there's so much juicy stuff in and around overland travel that we can discuss and we can talk about. So please feel free to hit me up in the comments and send me emails and messages and DMs and stuff on Instagram. Let's chat. Let's, engage. I'm always there. I'm always checking what people are saying, what people are thinking, and giving people help and feedback on their builds and their trips and things like that. So, you know what? It's always nice to hear from you. It's great to see you guys out in the world as well. So thank you for everybody who always stops and says hi and, introduce yourself. It's always really nice to meet the people who are the viewers of this show. And it's great when I get to see people out there doing their thing, enjoying their trips and their vehicles. That's just the cherry on top for me. At the end of the day, that's what Rome Overlanding is all about. Sharing the passion for overlanding and inspiring other people to get out there and have their own adventures. And I hope this episode did that for you. Anyways, we'll see you on the next adventure, wherever that might be.
If you enjoyed this film, please hit the like button and let me know in the comments so I know to keep making episodes like this. Thank you so much to the incredible sponsors who help make shows like this possible. Their products make my life on these adventures a real pleasure, and my vehicle really is my home away from home. I also want to thank my incredible Patreon members who support me month after month and get exclusive behind the scenes content and early access to upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next adventure.